Yo, what up all day? What's going on? Good morning, everybody. Cool, let's get into this. I got a little bit of gap up in the market. It's going to take some of the fun out of it. You know, we're kind of stalled out on the 9 on Friday, or I guess what was the last day trading? Yeah, Friday. Now we're kind of gapping up in it. I think the key is going to be to watch this range from the previous day. You know, the daily charts are still showing us bear flag. I mean, we might have a magnet to 160, but, you know, overall, really the rate of kind of the push has kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, in reality, on a lot of these stocks, like even though the market had a couple big days, but a lot of these kind of momentum stocks, they haven't bounced that hard, right, so far. So they're all just kind of stalled out looking at the same thing, right, just sitting at the 9 EMA, NVIDIA, SQ, right? They all just kind of look like little kind of bear flags, but I mean, they're so small that you can't even, you know, you can't even really say it's necessarily a short just yet, but we have to just kind of be mindful that at some point these old breakdown spots should stall out. This gap takes out a little bit of the range. What we'll need to do is watch that high from Friday to see if we bust over it. You know, if we bust over this high from Friday on the NASDAQ, and all the indexes look the same, then, you know, we might have a little bit of upside. But if you start pushing and you start stalling out around here, then this resistance that's kind of come through on the daily chart is going to start to show its face and do that. One thing that we are seeing in this market right now is you're getting about a couple turnarounds per day, meaning like, you may be starting to trend down and then you squeeze back to the upside. Or like on Friday, we were squeezing hard, right, to the upside into the close. They've been doing that around in the afternoon, right? They just turned those algos on, start squeezing to the upside, and then right the bottom just kind of dropped out on it, which is kind of funny. But it was like, it just kind of took it back into the range. So Friday was really tricky because, see this part right here, when the market is just sitting above the VWAP like that, but it's just stuck in range, it makes it really tricky because you keep thinking, like every 5 minutes, you keep thinking there's a breakout happening, and then you just start to bleed back down, right? And then you're thinking, oh shit, the market's rolling over, and like everything looks like a short, and then it pops back up just a little bit to get you excited and want to long the market, and then you kind of bleed back out, and you're just in that range, and it becomes really tricky. Like when you're stuck in a range like that intraday where there's the choppiness, what actually happens is you'll have stocks that you're watching for long and short, and they both will look good. You'll be like, wow, this thing looks like a long. And then you're like, but it also looks like a short, right? Like everything will have like a kind of double meaning to it. And so you just have to be careful. And what you want to really start to do is wait for the ranges to break. And that's where they turn the jets on. And that's when you'll have like easier pickings to the upside or downside. But if you're just playing inside the range, then it becomes really choppy. Everything will look like a long and short all at once. One thing to remember is that like every single stock right now that's like non-small cap or non-PR related is kind of looking like this, right? It's a breakdown, pull back to the 9. So like if you see every single one, I mean, you can just replace one with the other. Every single one looks like that. And one thing to remember is that when the VIX is high, so say you're like VIX 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, whatever it might be along that end. When the VIX is elevated, what will happen is the movement in individual stocks will just track the indices, and, you know, they all just move together, right? So the actual action in trading is just in the ETFs or the indices because they're all going to move together. So you can just whip out a 3X ETF, right, and kind of just trade that just the same as you would trade SQ or something like that because they're all looking the same. So just something to be mindful of. Some movers for today. This goose is loose. If it can stay over this 9, I think that's where you would try to long this thing and maybe play up to 50. For now, this is just a bounce inside really a big downtrending stock, which is not a clean gapper, right? You know, historically, the best gappers are going to be gaps like this, right? Where you gap out the highs and there's no level of resistance. But because of the bear market trading we've been in, bear market tactics, every stock's been decimated. There are no gap ups to 52-week highs, right? Because there's no stocks near 52-week highs. So you're getting these gap ups in news, but they're in a downtrend, and so they can fade off. It's just as many times as you see this early morning strength on the gap, they roll over just as many times unless they start to clear certain levels. And so really watch this 9 EMA. If it's not above that, then, you know, this gap might not hold. So just be mindful of that. And then, yeah, this DGAS is moving around a little bit pre-market too. You can never chase DGAS on a $20 spike, especially pre-market. But what DGAS does a lot, and you'll have to be mindful of this and wait because it requires a little patience, but it'll act really choppy at the open. But usually 10:30, 11-ish, it starts to settle down. And when it starts to settle down, you'll start to see an acceleration in the range, and it'll start to act more smooth where the dips and stuff get bought, and then you'll catch a really nice range in it. So definitely add that to the list. But the caveat is going to be only if it pulls back. You are getting this, VT having some pre-market action too. It had a really nice run on it on Friday. You may get a secondary play on this. What happens on days like today? So, like even in my chat room right now, there's like 8 degenerates hanging out in there right now, right? So, like, there's only a handful of people even trading today. So, what usually happens, right, on a day like today is you'll have like all traders kind of, if there's a small cap stock that is, if there's a small cap stock that's getting some action, because there's just not that much to play and there's only a handful of people out there, it's a great day to trade lower float stocks on like day before Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, like that kind of stuff, because all the traders will just pile into whatever stock is moving and you can get some really nice ramps in it. So I would definitely keep this on the list today too. These are the good spots. These are some good ones that can move on a day like today. I always notice that, like the week before Thanksgiving was always the best. The week of Thanksgiving is like always the best. When I trade a lot of small caps, that was like the bonanza for small cap traders because nobody's out there trading. So, we're just all piling into whatever names like have a little movement or have a little PR. It ends up getting fun like that. All these stocks, keep like Roku and just some of these movers on the list, but they all look the same, right? They're just breakdown pullbacks at this point. You're not getting necessarily any like huge heat. We'll just have to see where this thing goes. Hey, Fosco, good morning, my friend. Hey, Brent, what's up, baby? Claudio, ¿cómo estás? Hey, Danny, Happy New Year. Anybody watching anything fun? Hey, Shirley. Yeah, so this Azul does look like kind of a breakout. It is a little thin on volume. Probably more of a swing trade stock than, an active day trader, but you are getting the trend on it. Hey, Can't Sleep. What's up, baby? You know what? This BMW, I think, was like a special dividend play off this Dell computers. Yeah, it looks like they got a special dividend, $26.81, so that's why it's popping down 20 bucks. Happy birthday, Josh. Yeah, this APRN still kind of moving around, that's for sure. One thing to remember with these kind of, it's up a lot of days in a row, but I didn't think it was going to move like this on Friday. One thing to remember with some of these smaller ones that have fallen down a lot, there's a certain amount of tax loss selling that goes on end of year. We used to do this in the chat room all the time, was you make a list of all the small cap stocks that are down the most at the end of the year. Watch for the acceleration in selling towards the end of the year for the tax loss selling. Once that's over, you would get like nice 30, 40, 50% pops in like a lot of like random, like $1 or $2 names. It worked a lot better about 10 years ago when there's like 50,000 small caps because everything, Bank of America, Citigroup, everything was a small cap. But that type of strategy still works in play. So really hunt around for the tax loss selling and stuff like that. Good. Yeah, Azul is all right. It's just, no volume on it, right? So it's like going to be hard to trade if you only have 6,000 shares. a day. So just something kind of to be mindful of. All right, let's get to work. Let's make some trades. You know we're not going to be getting out of here today, Brandon. We will be in this thing till the close. Fuck. Oh yeah. We gotta add this goose. Cool. Let's go do what we gotta do. EWT. Yeah, watch these things for the little gap fill today too. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little double Lutsy at some point. Fill that gap in and then kind of re-ramp the thing because you are up a lot. It's a hot open so far.